sir.
Okay, okay, fine, sir. So we'll continue with the yesterday session, the audio, whatever the remaining portion, the automation and everything. Only 2 people from Chennai?
No, sir, total
5 people.
5 people, okay, fine. If possible, can I get a group photo of you people, whoever attended the session?
Yeah.
Maybe through mail. If you can send me that, that is very helpful for me. Of course, with the logo and everything, if possible, maybe a logo as a backdrop of your image photo.
No, logo.
No, maybe somewhere in office, if we can see the logo, that will be a great, right?
Yeah.
What I'm asking was like wherever you take you take the photo. Sir, actually I'm asking when you take the photograph, maybe if you can take anywhere in the office, that will be helpful, right?
Actually, we don't have such a big logo in our office actually.
No, any backdrop, but backdrop will be fine so that people can.
Okay, we'll try to get you one.
Okay, okay, fine. So yesterday, like we discussed about submixing as well as 5.1, right?
Yeah.
Today we'll see a few topics about audio, and we'll discuss about how to import multiple timelines. Multiple timelines means if you are working with, if you want to work with the same Premiere project in DaVinci, how can we import that EDL or XML into DaVinci? How can we export from DaVinci to Premiere? We'll see all those things. Okay. How to relink the clips, how to manage, how to archive, how to media manage. We'll see those things in today's class. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, fine. So here we do have
Seitan, which is tangy and.
Oh, let me delete this one.
Automation audio. Automation.
Yeah, right. Now we have both music track and dialogue track here. So I just want to reduce audio levels of music track wherever I'm listening the dialogue. We can do it manually, right?
Yeah.
We can able to assign by holding option key, right? And once we add any keyframes here, you will get the curve here itself. But this is not automation. We can able to adjust the keyframing and curving everything. Okay. But to do the automation, let's go back to Fairlight page. So I'll quickly go through the tools. This is regularly a selection tool, the first one, and the second one is the range selection tool. We can able to select a particular range of audio. Okay, and the third one is the combination of first two tools. So based on your mouse pointer, you can able to select the clip. If you click at the top of that layer, or like it will act as even the range selection tool also. And the remaining tools are like we already know that it will split the clip and snapping options, right? And above that, above that toolbar, we have navigation controls, right?
Okay.
Navigation controls. Let you people just remind me how to record voiceover also. I may miss that option. But see, here we have an
Sure.
automation option, right? We can able to record whatever the modifications we do to a selected track. Okay, the entire selected track. Now, just click this automation option. You will get lots of options here. Whether you want to add automatic keyframes to pan mode, or you want to go with the fader. So most of us use fader. Fader means audio levels, maintaining audio levels, right? So here I am selecting fader. So record keyframes for fader only. Okay, and to which track you want to do the automation. So anyway, we'll do with the background music, right? So now you need to enable these options, the same automation for that particular track. You can see those controls next to the track. So select this option, and from drop down menu, we need to select fader levels. So whatever the options we are seeing here, right? Same option we can able to see here also. Here I am selecting fader level, but you just need to enable either of these options. Okay, so I'll try to explain these two options. Here I'm selecting latch only, latch. Okay, so click latch. Now just play. And we enabled it for the second track, right?
Audio 2.
Audio 2, right?
Yes.
Now just play. Now can you able to see the red color line over the second track?
Yeah.
Whatever the modification I do with the control, I can able to increase or decrease audio level.
We've taken a peek at is our barbecue seitan, which is tangy and sweet and a little bit spicy, has a lot of
Just pass. That whatever the modification we do with the controller, it will automatically reflect to a selected track, right? But then what is the second options? Sometimes it is also useful snap. I will explain snap. Before that, I want to reset everything. So if you want to see the keyframes and everything also, you need to select this portion. Okay, click here. Now we can able to see everything, right? Keyframes and everything. Even we can mark keyframes and you can make adjustment to the particular portion also if you want to. But I'm just selecting all the keyframes. Click delete. We removed everything. Now it's with the default values. Okay. Now do the same thing again. Now I'm selecting snap. The difference between latch and snap is whether you hold this control or release this control. Okay. Now just play. If I drag this one, you need to hold the control. You need to hold the control. Whenever you release the control, it goes back to the previous audio levels. Okay. Like see, I'm just observe the red color line. When I release the control, it goes back to the previous audio levels instead of moving up and down. That is the main difference between latch and snap. Most of the times we use latch option only, right? We can able to adjust along with the controller. We can add keyframes, whatever the keyframes we add. So it's always better to select the latch option. Okay. The same thing you can do with the pan also. The pan mode, it will automatically add keyframes to the pan section. Or if you want to do it manually, just select whatever the track you want to animate. Just double click, you can able to add keyframes to this thing also. Okay, so close. Now, so instead of doing it in edit page, if you want to add automatic keyframes, So we do have that option only in Fairlight page. The Fairlight page looks a little bit easier, right, when compared to the yesterday? The managing tracks
it's
and
quite
everything. Here itself, we can add tracks, same like in edit page, right? And one of the good thing about, okay, let me delete, okay. Go back to section. So one of the good thing in Fairlight page, we can able to remove audio noise and everything for a particular track, for entire track, not for a particular clip, for entire track. Okay. So let me mute this track. Let's go through
That
this
is
audio.
our barbecue seitan, which is tangy and sweet and it's pretty good.
We do have some kind of noise in this clip, right?
Yes.
Now we can able to add filters. Maybe most of the time we use noise gate or noise reduction filters, right? While dealing with audio. Now here, next to the controls, we can add effects. We have seen dynamics. We didn't see dynamics, right? It's a combination of compressor and expander. Okay, we can able to limit particular frequency. We can add a noise gate and we can adjust the threshold and everything. Okay, but I just don't want to go through everything. Let me show you a simple one. For the first track, we need to remove the noise from entire track, right? You can able to hear the noise also.
Which is tangy and sweet and a little bit.
Can you able to hear that sound? The background noise? Maybe somewhat, I'm not sure.
Good.
Yeah, right. Now, you need to add effect, just click plus icon. Now you have a separate section for noise reduction. Okay, click noise reduction. Let me, so effect, noise reduction. Nice. Okay, here you can see even DSR also, DSR, depopper, we use in TV channels, and this is the automatic mode, the DSR and everything, depopper, DSR. But first we'll go through the noise reduction. Click here. So you will find automatic option. Okay, when I click this auto speech mode, now just play that particular clip.
A little bit spicy, has a lot of protein, a really great texture, and we serve it with mashed potatoes, and it's pretty good.
Now without filter.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether you can able to hear the difference, but here I can able to hear the difference because anyway it's from my machine only.
It's pretty good.
Or else we can do it manually also. You just show the tool and select layer and play a little bit. That's it. It will automatically try to reduce that portion. Okay, and same with the, if you have maybe let me add. So if you select this option, if you have like the sound or maybe the pop sound, it will automatically try to do the things, and they have provided even the presets also. So for the audio, they have provided presets, and yeah, we do have lots of options when it comes to the noise reduction and everything. Okay. So, and okay, let me delete this one. How to record a voiceover? Do you people record voiceovers?
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes. Okay. So in Fairlight page also we can able to record voiceover, but I'm just creating a new track. I'm creating a new audio track. You can even, if you want to rename it, you can rename it. And if you want to change the color of the track and everything, it's the same thing like in edit page. Okay. Now, before recording, now see the voiceover track here. You need to add an input for that audio. That means we need to attach our mic, whatever the mic you people are using, you need to attach that mic. Simply click input. Right now we don't have any input. I'm selecting input. Now see, it is showing my internal mic of Mac machine, Apple machine, as well as the connected mic. So here I'm selecting. So which one? Yeah, this one. I'm selecting this one. Just simply click patch. That's it. Okay. Now we can able to record audio. So let me mute these two tracks. Just click this record button. Okay. Now, yeah, record. Now, can you able to see the audio waveforms and everything on the particular track? See the audio waveform shape. Now and now, right? So yeah, just solo. You able to see the audio waveforms and everything on the particular track, and you can do whatever the necessary things to do always, right? And go to edit page, and here we do have our voiceover track also, right? So it's very simple to record voiceover with the Fairlight page also, right? You just need to patch up your mic to that particular track and just go through the recording. That's it. Okay. So these are the most of the things for an editor, right? When it comes to audio.
Yes.
Yeah, fine.
Yes.
Right. Now go back to edit page. Yeah. So close. Now we will see how to import a different timeline into our DaVinci project. You people deal with XML or EDL most of the time?
XML.
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 So you will export Final Cut Pro XML from Premiere?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So for XML, it's a different thing, different method, whereas for EDL, it's a different method to import our timeline. But let's go with EDL. Actually, I thought you people are working with EDL. Abdul asked me yesterday for Premiere to DaVinci, right? And even we'll see even the XML also. Okay, how to import XML file also, right? Now let me, okay, project manager. So I'm just creating a new project. I'm naming it as from Premiere, create. So I I have created both XML as well as EDLs for from Premiere itself, from my other machine, from my MacBook Pro. So I created one EDL, I created XML, as well as there is one more thing called pre-confirmed EDL. Do you people know what is a pre-confirmed EDL? Have you ever used it?
No, sir. No, sir.
Do you know what is confirming?
Confirming.
Yeah, confirming is nothing but relinking, right? It's a technical term within the color, confirming. So pre-confirmed means we'll export the high quality original file from our timeline. Maybe whether it's a Premiere or any other thing, we'll export the single timeline. Single timeline means we exported entire timeline as a single clip. We rendered that it, and we'll try to reconnect with that clip. It will automatically splits in our timeline, in DaVinci timeline. Wherever the cuts you people, whatever they edit in the original timeline, it will automatically adds those clips to your timeline by using the exported one. We'll go through all these options: direct EDL, pre-confirmed EDL, as well as XML also. Okay. Whereas for EDL, you need to import all the clips before adding that EDL to your timeline. Okay. For that, go to media page. Yeah. So these are the clips I have used for that project, and you need to right click on that particular folder. You can able to see add folder based on EDLs, and if you have subfolders also, you need to select this option, add folder and subfolder based on EDLs. So let me check, do we have any subfolder? Yeah, we do have subfolder also. Then right click, you need to select this one, add folder and subfolder based on EDLs into media pool. When you select this option, it will ask you like based on which EDL you want to add the clips. This one, right? For DaVinci, I have named it as a for DaVinci. You need to select this one. Okay. So when you select that particular EDL, based on the information on that EDL, it will try to add those clips into your media pool along with the subfolders and everything. And it will ask you if the frame rate is different. It will ask you to, if you want to change the frame rate and everything, you can do that thing. So click OK. And see, we have added all the clips into our timeline. Now go to edit page, or even you can right click here also. And even from here itself, we can able to import timelines, but I want to do this in edit page. So go to edit page. So right click, by right clicking, we can able to import whether it's a EDL or pre-confirmed EDL, or go to file. Even here also you will have, you will see the same option, import timeline. Okay. Now, right now we are dealing with a regular EDL, not pre-confirmed EDL, right? So select this EDL. Now this one, select this one for DaVinci, click open. Now you need to match the frame rate. So for that, I'm just selecting the automatically set project settings. You can able to change. We have seen this 24 and 30 frames before importing that clips, right? Now, so click OK. So this is my timeline from Premiere. So anyway, I don't have a Premiere installed in my machine. So I took a screenshot from my other machine, from my MacBook Pro. So that screenshot looked like downloads. This one. This is my Premiere timeline. I just took a screenshot instead of installing Premiere and everything in this machine. So you can see the clip arrangement, everything. This is the screenshot image, and this is our timeline. Can you able to see both the things?
Yes.
Okay.
Right. So we can able to if it's a EDL, we can able to relink with this one. Okay. But if it is a pre-confirmed EDL means I have used my timeline along with the audio, and I already exported this one as a high quality one. Okay, I already exported my Premiere timeline with high quality. Most of us use ProRes HQ, I think, right? So I exported with a ProRes HQ. So close. So to deal with the pre-confirmed EDL, you need to add that particular clip into your media pool. Okay. So I'm just removing all the clips from my media pool. Just go to the desktop. No, not this one. From Premiere. This is the exported file, along with the music and everything. Can you able to hear the audio also?
Authorizing often runners.
Okay. Now I'm just adding this high quality file into my media pool. Okay. And if the project settings are different, it will ask you like in any other application, we'll see this option, right? Do you need to see change your project settings? So click change. Now we added our exported media file into my timeline. Now go to edit page, go to file, import timeline. Here we need to select pre-confirmed EDL. Pre-confirmed EDL means we already added and managed that whatever the project we are dealing with Premiere. So simply select this one. This is the pre-confirmed EDL, right? Select this one. Just click open. And if you want to rename it, you can go through all these options. I'm just clicking OK. Now see, it already added along with the cuts. Right? Can you able to see the edit points here?
Yes.
It automatically happens, like it will add this clip, exported clip. Based on imported EDL, it will try to make the cuts. If you have a transitions or titles, any other thing, it will try to add all those things also. But if you want to check with the screenshot, this one, this is the screenshot, but there is a difference in audio track, right? But when we export any timeline, we'll get the merged audio, the mixed audio, right? We do have the mix, but it is showing it as a single audio file. That's it, right? And if you are working with a pre-confirmed EDL, you just make sure everything will be in your track one. That is the main reason. EDL, when you export EDL, it will ask you which track you want to select from Premiere, right? You need to select the particular track. You need to make everything as a single track. Then only it will helpful, right? And whereas for XML, you don't need to add any of the clips before importing your timeline. Go to file, import timeline, right? Import timeline, click it. Now here I'm selecting XML. When you select XML, so it's the same thing like in previous case, but when you click OK, sometimes if it will automatically try to search for those clips. If not, we need to do it manually. Okay, click yes. Maybe users in DaVinci. Click OK. And this is the XML, somewhat different. I managed to keep the top layer also. So I just want to explain the difference between EDL and XML. XML carries like most of the advanced information when compared to EDL. So we don't need to make it as a single track, right? Even see here, we do get the unmixed version of audio also here. right? Along with the top layers. That's the main difference between XML and EDL. So when you are working with EDL, you need to add those clips before importing EDL within the media page. Within the media page, it is not possible to add the media from edit page. Go to media, maybe this one, right click. You need to use these options. Okay, either of these options. If you have a subfolders and everything, go through this fourth option, or else go through the third one. Okay, and yeah, there is some advanced options also. If you have a footage in different folders, different source, and based on the pre-confirmed EDL, it will automatically split the clip. Okay, and if you are working with XML, you don't need to add the clips before importing XML. While importing itself, it will ask you whether I have to search for the clips or not. That's up to you. If you want to do it manually, you just click the cancel. Okay. So is it clear with the multiple timelines? Hello, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, and I just want to show you a quick tip when you're working with a merged file. So I'm just deleting everything. If the colorist, where is it? Yeah. So somebody gave you a single file.
The first thing you will learn about
That means exported a merged file. You have to do color correction on that particular file. What will you do usually?
Scene detect.
Sorry?
Scene detect, sir.
Sorry?
Scene detect.
Yeah, exactly. Scene cut detection option. You can use scene cut detection option. But if you have the transitions or everything, it will add at most of the frames if you have transitions. So if you have no transition, maybe simple. So it will make cuts at each and every edit point. Simply click add cuts to media pool. That's it. It will try to split the clips in your timeline. Even it will split the audio also, but you don't get any difference with the audio file when you use this option. Okay, but so most of the time you people deal with XML, so it's fine. If sometime if you want to color grade with a particular portion, then you can use this option, scene cut detection. And yeah, there is one more option, add as offline reference clip. I need to create a separate project for that one. I should have exported. Okay, let me try it in a different way. So I'm not sure whether it's going to work or not, because I'm dealing with the two separate projects here. So this is our timeline from XML. Okay, we relinked it, and if you want to check with the original one, so I'm not sure whether it's the same file or not. We can able to add it as a offline reference clip. Okay, simply click this one. So we added that one as a reference one. Okay, now go to edit page, and so we need to link with the reference clip. This is our timeline, right? This is our timeline. right click, timeline, link offline reference clip. So here we imported this media file, right? So click this option and you just need to select the offline clip here so that we can able to see whether we reconnected everything as in an actual way, right? It's right now it's properly relinked with the original one, right? We don't have any difference, the framing and everything, right? And even you can mix and see each and everything, right? Okay.
The time is up actually.
Sorry.
The time is up, it seems, for the Zoom thing.
Sorry. Let me disconnect. Yeah, we'll do one thing. We'll disconnect and we reconnect one more time. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. From your side also, just disconnect and reconnect it. Okay. So in this way, we can use the offline reference clip to check with the XML. Okay. So you need to add that particular clip as a offline reference clip, and you need to relink your, that means you need to link your timeline to that reference clip. And after that, you need to load that offline clip into your viewer so that we can able to check with the timeline and everything, right? Even the vertical wipe, like, yeah, maybe some, I might have changed the export settings for a particular clip. Okay, that might be the problem with this one. If we do it in an actual way from the same timeline, you don't see any difference, right? The framing and everything will be the same, right? You can go through the clip by clip and everything, right? See here. So there is just some framing difference because of the exporting variation of the original timeline. Okay, so this is the way to work with multiple timelines. Okay, so EDL, XML, pre-confirmed EDL. Okay. So is there any doubts in this particular topic?
Sir, is there any option called sleep medium or sleep frame?
Sleep frame.
For example, if 1 or 2 frame is not matching, then
Okay.
I want to sleep that 1 or 2 frame.
Yeah, that means if there is any other clips in your timeline without relinking with the original source, is that what you are asking?
Yes. Sometimes what's happening is 1 or 2 frame is
Yeah, clips, frames means clips, right?
Yes.
Yeah. At that time, what we need to do is, there is two possibilities. like all, if you are any clips are missing with the current timeline, we can always relinking by right clicking here, relink that particular clip, or relink by selecting multiple clips also. But when you are dealing with XML, what you need to do is you need to reconfirm the particular clip. Okay. If you have added those clips, if you are sure if the clips are in your media pool, that means in your media pool or any other bin, so select, let's say this is a missed one. Okay, for example, this clip is the missed one. So select that particular clip, go to file, and here you will see two options: reconfirm from bins, reconfirm from media. So if you select the from bins option, what it will, we need to show the particular bin. But if you don't have those clips, and anyway it is showing that there is no offline timeline clip like that, right? So okay. File, you need to use this option, media storage, and same thing. Okay, let me so no, it should what I need to do. Okay, I will do one thing. I'm just deleting everything. Import timeline, import XML. So here, instead of searching for those clips, here I'll try to do, I'm not adding those clips. Okay. So in a real case, we added while importing itself. So this is what you are asking, right? Right. Now select the clips, go to file. We know we don't have any clips in our bins, right? We did not add anything into our media pool. If you know the media and everything, you can import and you can select the particular bin. But instead of that, what I'm doing, go to file. So reconfirm from media storage, use this option, reconfirm from media storage, select this. Now you can able to see most of the options. By seeing itself, you can able to understand which option you need to use and everything. Okay. I'll try to relink from DaVinci. Maybe from downloads. For DaVinci. This one. Click OK. That's it. And same thing we need to do with the audio also. Okay. If you have any missing files, while confirming, you can use these two options. Go to file. Either you can use reconfirm from bin. You need to import reconfirm from media storage. Okay. So is that clear?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So this is, but sometimes we'll get lots of problems while reconfirm, relinking. That's in a practical world, right? While dealing with a large project. And yeah, while working itself, we need to explore most of the things. But this is like overall like overview of working with particular timelines, the EDLs, XMLs, pre-confirmed EDLs, right? Now, what if you want to save everything for the archiving purpose? Like we do use media management, right? Whatever the clips we are using in our timeline, we'll try to save only those clips along with the project file for the archiving purpose, right? The media management option in Final Cut Pro 7, I think by right clicking itself, we can get that option. So what if you want to do those media management thing? So instead of relinking, I'm just deleting these clips. Okay. That option you will find here in file menu. So media management, click on media management. Okay. When you click media management, So it will ask you entire project. You want to consolidate your entire project, or maybe only a timeline, or only a particular clips. Okay, and it will show you the size. If it is the entire project, the size will be the same always. Okay, and if I select timeline, it is showing 0 KB, right? Even though we have timelines, it is showing 0 KB, and if I select clips also, it is showing 0 KB. Right? Why? Because here in our media pool or in our timeline, we did not select any clips. That is why it is showing 0. If I select any of the clips, let's say I have selected only these clips, go to file, select media management. Now the clips or timelines or maybe the projects, you can able to see the size. Okay, now I don't want to pack up only clips. I want to go with the entire project. So file, select media management, entire project. So copy all media or copy only used media. It's up to you. Okay. Copy and trim used media. That means there is slight difference in between these two things. Copy all media means whatever the content we imported in our media pool, it will try to copy each and everything. Okay. And the copy only used media files means whatever the content we used in our timeline, it will try to copy only the particular clips. And copy and trim used media keeping means anyway it will copy the used clips in our timeline, and that too used portion in our timeline, not the clips, only used portion in our timeline. Okay, just select, and we can always add handles also. So instead of doing that, I'm just selecting copy, and let's say you are sending this project to a different person. For that we do have some more options. Okay, copy, consolidate means it will put everything in a single media folder, so that after importing timeline in a different DaVinci Resolve setup, you can able to relink easily everything by using the consolidate option. Okay, and if you want to preserve the file structure, or maybe it's always better to select this option instead of leaving it like that. When you click start, now see the difference between in earlier it is the same size 1.22 GB and 1.22 GB, and right now we are using only the trimmed media in our timeline. Okay, so here you can mention the destination for that media and everything. Click browse. So in documents, I am creating a new folder. I'm naming it as for testing only. Click that. So select that. Just click start. So based on your timeline length and media, it will take time based on the content only. Now anyway, it's a very small project. Documents for testing only. Now see, you can able to see all the media, whatever the media you have used, only that media will be copied into the selected destination. Okay, and we do have one more option. While which format do you use for archiving purpose? For archiving purpose, we try to limit the size of the clips, so that we'll go with a smaller file size, right? So at that time we do have that option also here. Select the media management, the transcode options. So while copying, it will try to, you can say in a simple way, it will convert everything. whether it's H.264 or maybe DNX HD H.265, it's up to you. Whatever the format you want to transcode it, you can select. You can select those options here itself. Okay, right? This is all about media management. Okay, if you want to back up or consolidate your entire work, so this is the option, media management. Okay, and if you want to simply export your project along with the media files, .drp, for FCP it will show .fcp, right, for FCP
Yes.
project, whereas for DaVinci it will show you like .drp. But we in FCP7 or Premiere we can able to see project files, right? Wherever we save, we can able to see based on the destination, we can able to see the project file. But here everything will happen inside the database, right? Inside the database. But if you want to send a project to a particular person, okay, now let's say for Premiere, by right clicking we can able to export a selected project along with the media and everything, only the selected one. Okay, so export project. Now I'm just naming it as for testing only. Okay, let me create a new folder. Let's make it as what we call, maybe test. Create, save. That's it. So when you go documents, tests, you can able to see the TR. Okay, .drp. And how can we import this project into our regular DaVinci, right? So now by right clicking here, we do have an import project also. Import, like same like import media, we do have import project also. We need to import that project, and if you have the media files, it will automatically relinks everything. Otherwise we need to do it in a manual way. It's only for a particular project. The media management is a different thing, whereas exporting and importing project is a different thing, right? Media management is a kind of archiving. It is for a project, it is like we are just sharing the project to different people. And yeah, anyway, you work with the shared storage. No, there is no need to create a separate database. We have seen like yesterday, I think, how to create a project server and everything, right? Okay. Day before yesterday. Okay, fine. Close. Now, is it clear as of now with the media management and working with the different timelines?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay, fine. Now there is some few options, like I'll try to cover here and there, like filters, the titles. Before using titles, we will use subtitles. And most of the times we'll use broadcaster filter, right? Not most of the time, every time we need to use the broadcaster filter, right? And for the filters and everything, you will, this is effect library. Just click effect library, right? So video transitions, do we need to discuss about transitions?
No, sir, not that.
Not necessary, right? It's the same thing by the cross dissolve, and by right clicking you can make it as a favorites. You can customize transition, make it as a favorites. It's the same thing like any other application. And we do have that individual transition options also, Command T, Option T, for audio transition, for video transitions and everything, right? So before dealing with titles, let me go to the effects. And for solids, if you want to use any solid, a particular solid color or anything, you will find that in generator category. The grayscale, maybe solid color, let's say. Okay. So let me show you. When you add any generator within the inspector window, you will see the generator options. Okay. Now we can able to change the color of that particular generator. Maybe I want it to be a the solid. We use solids and everything, right? The solid color, and the cropping and everything is same with any other media of the inspector window options. Okay. So, and of course, if you are using this one for every project, we have seen that we can create a power bins, right? So that we can use whatever the added content to that power bins throughout any of the projects, right? Close. And go to effects. In effects, you will find only two things: adjustment clip as well as fusion composition. So I don't want to go with the fusion composition. As of now, I'm just adjustment clip means nothing but adjustment layer. We use it all the time in Premiere Pro, right? So whatever the filter you add to that particular layer, it will affect the bottom layer clip, right? But here, go to OpenFX. Maybe let's say a Gaussian blur. I'm just adding a Gaussian blur. Now it will affect only to the particular clips, right? So if you want to add a filter to a particular clip, simply select and drag it. When you add any filter, you will see the filter parameters within the inspector window. Click OpenFX. Now you can able to adjust and you can able to add keyframes and everything. I will do a quick keyframing for this one. Added keyframe. Now, in this, or maybe we can do it in a reverse way. Like that. And when you do any modification, so we have seen this thing, right? The keyframing, curving, just click this one. So you can able to adjust. So, there is a problem with this one. Okay. Right. So same thing we did with the transform and everything in Curve Editor. We can do same with the filters also. If you want to delete a filter, or if you want to copy paste attributes, those are options. All options are available in edit menu. Paste attributes, remove attributes, right? So Command C. Maybe let's say for this clip, along with the keyframes and everything. Okay. So the keyframes, we know these options, right? Maintain timing, stretch to fit. If you have used any keyframes or anything, so we can able to paste each and everything. Okay, by using paste attribute option. But let's go back to the broadcast safe filter. When you search for that one, click here. There is no filter with that name, right? There is no broadcast safe filter. Then how can we limit like excessive luma? Excess luma, how can we able to limit that thing? So it is in DaVinci, the broadcast safe filter is like a preset thing. It's an automatic thing. We just need to enable that one. For that, go to File, select Project Settings. Click on Project Settings. Now, within the project settings, we do have lots of options for the timeline, video and audio options. And here, go to Color Management. go to color management. Now there is one option called broadcast safe here. Broadcast safe. So instead of adding filters and everything, whatever the option you select here, it will try to apply for each and every project. If you are using DaVinci, then you can forget about the broadcast safe filter. You are already applying that filter on your clips. Okay. Now, if we click this one, you can able to see the ranges. You people stick with maybe 110 or maybe 100, 0 to 100 or minus 10 to 110. 0 to 100 only. Yeah, maybe the option is here. It is showing the shadows and highlights range only 0 to 100, from whites to blacks, or super whites to super blacks to super whites. Okay, this is the range of the limit. Okay, let me show you one quick way. Go to color. Just detach it, and we can able to see. Okay, let me increase this one. Anyway, we don't have. Yeah. Now we have somewhat excessive brightness, right? We can able to see the clipping area also here. Now go to File, select project settings. Now just observe the waveform monitor. I'm just limiting it to 0 to 100. Make broadcast safe. Click make broadcast safe. Just click save. Can you see the difference of the waveform? Difference in the waveform before checking and after checking. It will reduce whatever the highlight portion, right? And that's it. No need to add any other filter for the broadcast safe. Any other filter for the broadcast safe. And if you want to see the zebra lines, the excessive luma lines, that option only available in color page, not in edit page, unfortunately. So go to view, display broadcast safe exceptions, display broadcast safe exceptions. We'll do one thing. Let me disable that one. So project settings, disable. So once again, we increase the brightness, right? Now go to view option, display broadcast safe. Now it will show you with the color. So wherever you have excessive luma or maybe oversaturated content, it will show you with the color. If it is oversaturated, you will see, I think, yellow color for the saturation. Okay. Now it's a luminance. We are seeing the blue color. Now we'll do the same thing. File, and let me show you the manual way. Anyway, it's highlights. We can able to adjust the gain, right? When I reduce the gain, you can able to see the difference in. We are reducing that portion, right? We are removing that whatever the over brightness thing, we are reducing that thing, right? Reset everything. So undo. So instead of doing that, go to File, go to project settings. Now under color management, just select this option. Okay, just click save, right? So in this way, we can able to limit whatever the excessive brightness and everything. Okay, by using, we just need to enable this option, right? Under the color management section in project settings, right? And view options, display. And when you try to enable that option from, it won't allow you to select that option within the edit page. Okay. And if you are searching for a broadcast safe filter, there is, you won't find anything related to broadcast safe in filter category. Right? And you do have a lots of filters. I don't think we can go with the filters. You can able to explore this area, right? We don't need to discuss about these things, right? So if you want to apply, or maybe let's say the mirrors, for that particular clip. And if you want to delete that particular filter, now select OpenFX. With filter, without filter preview, we can able to see. If you want to delete it, simply you can click the trash bin. That's it. Click the trash bin. We can able to delete that particular filter. Okay. Now same thing with the titles also. Okay, so titles here. Most of the time titles will be dealt by the graphics guy, right? They'll provide you the titles and everything, I think, right? Okay. So,
Sir, is there any filter called glow?
glow. Sorry?
Yeah.
Glow
This
filter?
glow.
Glow. I think you will find, I'm not sure, glow filter, different kinds of light ray filters. No, it is not showing with the same name, but we do have, let me open FX. Yeah, it's there, glow filter.
Glow.
How it will look? It is not showing anything. Yeah, okay, fine. We do have the glow filter also here. And even different types of parameters. To be frank, I haven't used any of these parameters. Like, okay. And even the light rays and everything also you will find here. And sorry?
Sometimes we need two filters that are called like denoise, sharpen. So these things available.
Available, it's available. And okay. As for noise reduction, if I type anything, I'm not seeing options here, right? The advanced level noise reduction is available inside color page. Let me load a different clip here with a bit of yeah, there is a little bit of noise in this clip. Anyway, it's a proxy media, but we'll try to deal with the noise. So select the particular clip, go to color page. Within the color page, sorry. So we have seen some basic options, right? Here the last one, okay? So click this option. NR means noise reduction, noise reduction. There are two types of noise reductions. One is temporal, one is spatial. One is temporal, one is spatial. So based on the noise, if you have any movement in that noise, or maybe if it is a static noise, based on that, we need to select these options. So let's say here I'm selecting maybe temporal noise. So based on frame rate, the analyzation, if you want to do it for each frame, or maybe the maximum number 5 frames. So here I'm selecting just the average number 3, the faster, better, but it will utilize all of your system resources. Okay. Now, when I try to reduce this one, I'm not sure you people can able to see the difference, but here I'm seeing maybe particularly at this region. Okay. And this option is available only in studio version. If you want to do it with the light version, it will show you the watermark of DaVinci. It will work only with the studio version. And if I try to play, so based on the analyzation and everything, if you want to work with the noise reduction, you need to come to the color page. Okay, to the motion effects to reduce the noise. So fine.
Yes, sir.
Any other filters? Yeah, you might have using lots of filters. And most of the filters you can able to find it in DaVinci, and you can always use third-party filters also. The installing and everything is also possible in DaVinci. Okay, and there are some interesting filters also. I'm not sure those are useful or not. And whereas for the sharpen, it's their sharpen filter, and we do have some advanced options for the sharpening also. Let me quickly, yeah, we'll use this image for the sharpening thing. So instead of using sharpen filter, I'm just going to the color page. We do have blur and sharpen options here with the most advanced horizontal sharpening, vertical sharpening, and everything. Click blur, and here we need to select the sharpen option. It changes. Now I will add little bit sharpen so that you can able to see the difference. Can you able to see the difference? Yeah. Okay. Let me enable and disable this one.
Of that.
This is with the filter. And this is without filter, without sharpening and with sharpening. Can you able to see the difference?
Oh, they
Yes, yes, yes.
Is the original one. We just added a little bit of sharpness to this one. Okay. Can you able to see the difference?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, fine. So like multiple ways to do that thing. Okay, just reset. I haven't used the sharpen filter within the timeline, but within the timeline, let's see what options we do have here. Yeah, we do have pretty much same options, but whereas in color page we can deal with the different color channels, RGB channels for the sharpening also. Here it is affecting the entire clip. Okay. Right?
So, sir, whatever effect we need, we can find it from this filter page only, right?
If you want to search for any filter, right? You can able to search any of the filters by clicking this one. But it should match the name. Maybe deflicker. Right now we are seeing deflickering like that.
In Flame, another filter is called VNet. So
Yeah, to be frank, I don't know that much
thing is
comfort.
that thing will,
Yeah, what that filter will do?
No, that is a vignette he's asking for. Vignette, we can do it in color mask.
Yeah, okay, vignette mask. Okay. So vignette mask is available inside the color page. That's a simple thing. Let me. Yeah, we don't have any vignette mask here. Yeah, as per you said, you can use the power window as a vignette mask.
நார்மலா ஒர்க்கிங் மோட் தெரியும் அதுல இது லேப்டாப்லாம் தெரியும்
அவருக்கு அனுப்பணும்
அவருக்கு தெரியும்.
And you can invert the mask or do this. And this is what you are asking for, right?
yes.
Vignette filter.
அவங்க வரல
Yeah, actually I need the same kind of photograph also for myself, for promotion. Okay.
Vinod, உங்க வாய்ஸ் தான் கேக்குது.
பாய்.
Okay. This is the vignette thing. There is no direct filter in edit page. I'm not sure if it is there or not. And we do have lots of filters. Something useful one also. I don't know whether. Yeah, they added different types of effects and everything. You can able to manipulate. Okay. Yeah, it's there, vignette filter. Sorry, it is showing here. Vignette is there. Yeah, it is pretty much, it is doing everything. But let's say if you have for some filters, we do have on-screen controls, right? Within the canvas, we can able to adjust for some filters. Let me check with this filter. We need to select OpenFX overlay. Yeah, we don't have any option for the vignette, unfortunately, the circle and everything. But for some filters, you will find on-screen controls also, even for some transitions also. Basic, advanced, the size and everything. Yeah, it's there, right? Vignette filter. And you will find most of the filters. Yeah, that is about this section.
Disconnected.
Sorry?
They're going to get disconnected, I think.
Yeah, less than a minute.
Okay. Then let's repeat the same process. I'm sorry for that thing. Okay. We'll disconnect and reconnect.
எத்தனை வீடியோ வரல பண்ணிடலாமா?
Okay, fine. So, is there any doubts from today's session?
Vajid, you told us you will show us the subtitle thing.
Sure, definitely. I'll try to cover. Anyway, we are closing up the session.
Okay.
Okay, fine. Okay, let me do with this one. Let me delete all empty tracks. Okay, now. So if you want to use subtitles, you need to add a subtitle track. Okay, fine. Just right click here, right click, add subtitle track. Okay, click add subtitle track. Now, there are two ways to create a subtitle. One, you can work within the titles. You will find the subtitles option here. Okay, you can simply drag and drop here. By default, it will create a 3 seconds. You can always drag and adjust its duration. Okay, and by right clicking in this area, we can able to add the subtitle also. Okay, and if you want to make the changes to the text and everything, we do have lots of options here. So under the inspector window, we can able to see, right? Let's say you so just for example only. And if you want to stylize your text, we are not seeing any options here, right? Other than the text field and everything. Why? Because it is using track style. Whatever the track style we defined, based on that thing only it is showing. If you want to make changes to that thing, simply select track style and you have a regular text options like the font and everything. Yeah, anyway, we don't use these kind of fonts. Let's stick with the basic Arial one. Yeah, regular. No. Yeah, Avenir. I'm just using Avenir, and the color and everything. Okay. The stylizing options, you will see everything. The drop shadow, if you want to add the drop shadow, right? Color of the drop shadow. Stroke, if you want. I just don't want the stroke and everything. Now you can able to see the drop shadow also. Background, if you want any background, you can use the background. You can adjust the background width and everything. Okay. And whatever the modifications you do, it will automatically reflects the caption. But if you want to make changes to a particular caption, if you want to make any changes to a particular caption, you just deselect this one. Okay, use track side, just select. Now what we can do, somewhat basic portion here, right? And simple way, I'm just, okay, I don't want to use the background. Simply delete the background, deselect it. Okay, don't go with the text and everything. So simply add subtitle, and you can always split that subtitle also by using the same tools, Command V and everything, right? And within the screen also you can able to type and everything, but it's always better to do with the within the inspector window. And here you can able to see the time code of your position of your subtitles within the timeline. Okay. And if you want to see the safe zone and everything for the subtitles and for the what we call for the titles. Okay. So go to view. Here you can see the safe area, right? Safe area. Just click on. Now we can able to see the safe zone, action safe zone, title safe zone, and everything for the titles. Let me just disable this one.
Is there any option to import the subtitles from some other application?
There is lots of options.
SRT?
Yeah, let me show you that thing also.
Okay.
If you want to export it, only the subtitles, go to file. You can export your subtitles from the file menu, or if you want to import, you can import subtitles. Okay. We'll do one thing. Let me export only subtitles. Later we will import same subtitles to our whatever the timeline we have, right? So subtitles. Let me subtitle for. Yeah, subtitle for rough cut. Let me subtitle for rough cut. And right now we are only seeing SRT only, right? Here we don't have that option exporting it as a closed caption or maybe kind of ITT file, iTunes text file. We don't have those options. Anyway, SRT is commonly used subtitle format, right? Even we can use it for, yeah. Now here I'm selecting the SRT. So click save. Now we exported it, right? We exported it. Now let me delete this track. Delete this track. Now I will try to import whatever the thing we exported just now. Right click, import subtitle, import subtitle. Now this is our subtitle. Select it, open. Right, we have imported our subtitle track. Just drag it to your timeline. It's with the same alignment, right? If you have already created subtitles, you can always import those subtitles. Okay, whether it's a SRT or whether it's a closed caption, you can always import those subtitles. Right? And do you people develop subtitles from the scratch, or do you people use any transcription application for the subtitles?
No, we develop it from scratch.
Scratch, and that means you will type each and everything, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and if you are
we copy it.
Okay, you copy text and everything. Okay, from the
sometimes
notepad.
We type and sometimes we copy text from notepad or Word file or something like that.
Okay. There are some other applications they can convert, but you need to have a time code and everything. Based on audio also.
Okay.
There are some applications for Final Cut Pro. It's there. You can able to.
Based on the audio, which one will convert?
Simon Says is one of the online application, but it's not free one.
What was that?
Simon Says, SIMON
Okay.
And whereas for Final Cut Pro, you can use the Simon Says as an extension without going to that particular site. You can able to convert whatever the timeline you have within the Final Cut Pro 10. So I'm pretty much sure DaVinci will add those things in, incorporate third-party extensions in DaVinci also. Why? Because they'll try to follow the Apple people most of the time while developing the editing application.
Okay.
Okay. But for Simon Says, it's not free. They'll charge based on the duration.
Okay.
Okay. Right.
Okay.
And if you want to export your file along with the subtitles, right? Anyway, we'll discuss about delivery page in next session, but I just quickly go through the subtitles portion. Just go to the delivery page, sorry. Now, under the video section, we do have subtitle settings. Just click here, export subtitles. Here we have 3 different options as a separate file. That means you will get a separate SRT file along with the render file. You will get a separate SRT file, but burn into video. We don't use this option that much. That means it will merge with the video. We don't have that option to enable and disable when we burn anything into our video, right? As embedded caption, this is very useful option. As embedded caption, it won't export it as a separate subtitle file, but it will incorporate your subtitles. You can enable or disable it. If you are uploading it to YouTube, you can use this option. CES 608 is a technical term for closed caption. Do you know the difference between closed caption, the CC thing we'll see in YouTube and everything, the CCs and SRT file? Do you know the difference between closed captions and SRTs?
Yes.
Yeah. So, yes or no?
No, we don't know.
Okay, fine. It's a simple thing. CC carries most advanced information. CC is used for if they have any problem with the hearing and everything. In CCs, they include everything. Let's say your phone is ringing, it will show you the phone is ringing, background music is playing, somebody knocking on the door. That is available in closed caption.
The effects description also.
Yeah, exactly. That's the right thing. And whereas in SRT, you will see only the dialogue portion. Only the dialogue portion. Okay. That's the main difference. Now select this one so that we can able to enable and disable within the exported file. Okay. Now, when it comes to burn into video, there is one good option. This is about subtitles. Actually, we have covered everything about the subtitles in a quick way. Okay. Let me show you one thing about burn into video. Okay. Go to edit page. Sometimes we need to export a rough timeline along with the time code or along with some other information printed on that thing, right? Right? So for that we do have that option like
Time code.
Yeah, with the time code and everything printed on our video, printed on our timeline, right? So go to workspace.
Yes.
Go to workspace. There is one option called data burning. Okay. Select this option and you will find tons of options here based on your logging and everything. The source time code, if you have a source time code, or maybe the timeline time code and everything. If you want to do it for an entire project, you can do it. If it is for a particular clip, you can always select the clip and see. Even we can add a quick watermark also. Somewhere here you will find the text option, the custom text. Select the custom text for dubbing, for audio, maybe
Yes.
for CG,
Uh,
like that. And you can always the size and everything. You can able to adjust those option, and we are merging whatever the content we are adding into that video. Okay.
One separately you cannot get.
If you are exporting your entire timeline to a particular guy, right?
Okay.
The data burning, and even in television, we don't go with the scopes and everything, right? Do you people use scopes? Scopes means
No, mostly not now. You say everything is HD.
HD, right? Let me show you the blanking thing also, if it is useful to you. If somebody doing it, we do have that option also. It will automatically assign based on the crop ratios and everything,
Okay.
based on your like that. Maybe I will go with this the timeline output blanking. Let me say this one, and we can always adjust the for particular clip the Y offset, and if there is some tight chart, we can always do that thing also, right? Instead of adding the letterbox filters, the pillar box filters, we can always use this option, timeline out
yeah.
blanking.
Yes.
Okay, the reset and everything. And yeah, yesterday you were asking about the annotations also, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but the annotation thing is useful for the reference purpose only. Like let me say, let's compare with the markers. We use markers a lot, right? To mention the particular portion to a CG guy or to some other person, right? Same thing we can do with the drawings and everything also, both for the source file as well as for the timeline clip. Just click here, click annotations. You want to say for a CG guy, just hide this logo or track this logo. You can do like this, or maybe you can use different shapes also. Let's make her face more saturated, or maybe let's make this thing a blur and everything. Okay, we can always add annotations, right? And when you add any annotation, you can able to see the marker here at that particular portion. And let me show you one thing for this clip. Okay, even we can change the color also. Just isolate that portion, and you can immediately see marker. If you select the clip, the marker will be added to that clip only. Here we selected the clip, that's why we got the marker here. And within the timeline, we don't have the renaming option and everything. We just need to go through the clip setting, marker, reduce the brightness, maybe let's say Luma. Done. So what we'll do when you go back to the color or maybe VFX page, at that particular portion, you can able to see here the marker information. Maybe here we can see it here. Reduce the Luma and everything, so that they can able to adjust that particular portion. Annotations are nothing but markers. Okay, if you want to clear out those things, there is one option. You can always move it, delete it, maybe something like, or you can clear everything by just disabling this option, overlays option, marker overlays option. You can disable everything. you can do with even the source thing also, the annotation and everything. Okay. This is same like markers. I'm not sure whether this will be useful or not. Most of the time we'll stick with the markers only. Okay. To specifically mention the changes and everything. Right. So these are the things for today's session. Tomorrow we'll entirely go with the delivery page as well as some of the options. Let's say tomorrow's session is from your side only. You can ask as many things as possible. Okay. And tomorrow we'll cover some of the Fusion page also. Whatever the knowledge I have on Fusion, I'll try to share with you, like the masking certain things, the chroma keying and everything. I'll try to share it with you, right? Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much for this session. Okay. Shall we close the session?
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
and
Rajit,
yeah, sir.
I tried to attend that online exam today.
Okay, what happened? You can do it more than 2 times.
Yeah, I think we can appear for 3 times. I got 71%.
Okay, congratulations.
That should be 84, right?
Yeah, anyway, you are somewhere close to that thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty much sure most of the people after using the application, most of the you people will get above 90%, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's a very good thing.
Very good thing, right?
But mostly they are asking questions on Fusion only.
No. They will add. You will find questions related to Fusion. Actually, 3 to 4 questions only. About
Fusion and this, what is it? Audio thing.
Audio, color.
Fairlight.
There are professional exams, particularly related to edit page.
Okay.
And those exams are available only through a trainer, through a certified trainer. They'll send link to a certified trainer. I'll try to share those links. I didn't receive anything for the 16.
Okay.
I do have for 15. I'll check with check the links, and those exams, particularly on edit page, particularly for Fusion page, you will be a certified Fusion professional, like that. But if you observe the questions, whatever the exam you attended, most of the questions are related to edit page only.
Yeah, edit page and some 4 to 5 questions of Fusion
are related to a particular
Fairlight.
Fusion 4 questions, color 4 to 5 questions.
That is what I don't know. Tomorrow you have to teach me.
Fusion.
Yeah.
First, I need to learn the Fusion.
It's a new thing, no? In 2017 it came, right?
No. Fusion used Black Magic people acquired Fusion in 2012, I think. Before that, it's from Eon Fusion. It's from that company. It's only for Windows. After they purchasing the application, they made it for the Mac also.
Okay.
It's a very old application, Fusion. Old, and most of the films compositing work will be done in Fusion and Nuke only.
Okay.
Kind of heavy application. And Fusion, whatever the knowledge I have over the motion, I'm trying to implement on that Fusion only. I'm just learning that portion. Anyway, one guy can't have that kind of multiple things going on, right?
True.
I do deal with most of the time. I do deal with the edit as well as color in a professional way. Okay, and little bit of motion graphics. For that thing, I'll depend on Apple Motion. I don't know even After Effects also. Basic thing of After Effects. I deal with Apple Motion to design the templates and everything. That's it.
Okay.
And
Yeah, he just want to ask something.
Sir, just for knowledge, I want to ask something. This is there any painting tool in this DaVinci? Like removing pimples or the dark portion below this eye, something like that. We used to do in
Yeah,
Flash.
that's an automatic thing in DaVinci. Let me show you in a quick way. Okay.
Like we can remove this logo in Flame, so it is possible here.
Yeah, it's
The girl
possible.
is having a logo.
Possible here. The removing blurring. You're asking? Blurring and patching.
We can remove also. Blurring is a different thing. We can remove. We can paint this black color to that logo.
Yeah, I hope it's possible in
Yes.
DaVinci, but I don't know the process.
Okay.
It's there in Fusion. But what you have asked about the facial structure and everything, we do have a separate filter in color page.
Okay.
So it's called face refinement filter. Face refinement filter. Just add that filter. Okay. Just add and click analyze. Click analyze. So it will try to identify the facial structure.
Okay.
And it will give a mat also for this?
Yeah, matte means we can able to see the matte, but most of the
Okay.
things are available here. It won't give you a separate matte.
Oh, right.
Yeah, there is no face. That's why. Okay. Here, let me disable this one, and we have these options like eye retouching. You can even remove eye bags also.
Oh, great. But if we do color correction right now on this clip, it will affect only the face or what?
No. It will affect. Yeah, anyway, it will affect the selected portion. Whatever the controls we do, now it is affecting the overall portion, right? Whatever the
Whole
thing
clip,
we
yeah,
do
yeah.
with the filter, it will affect only the selected portion. Let me, okay. The lips color and everything. Maybe the eye sharpening.
What was the name of the filter?
Face refinement filter.
Oh.
Called face refinement filter. Let me show you the difference also.
Please.
This is the original one, and this is the modified one. Can you able to see the difference?
Yeah.
At the eye portion, at
Yes,
the
yes,
cheek
yes.
portion, I didn't do anything
Yes,
much,
yes.
but the basic stuff.
Okay.
So these kind of options are there.
Okay.
Refinement.
So that's it for today. Okay.
Thank you.
So shall we close the session? Tomorrow I will share everything after the session. Whatever the recorded content for the 5 days and the shortcuts and even links to the particular tutorials. I will try to find the Fusion tutorial also if possible from the
Okay.
Blackmagic guys.
Okay.
That's it for today, right? And
Okay.
I need group photos of your people, whoever attending the session.
Yeah.
Group photos with people can know you're from Sun TV. Like you can have a kind of a Sun Network background or any other thing. That would be good, right? Maybe at the reception area or somewhere you will definitely have.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll give you a photo.
Yeah, sure.
I'll send you in WhatsApp.
No. Send me through the mail.
Mail, okay, right.
Mail. WhatsApp will compress the image and everything, right? Okay, and
Tomorrow
if you have any doubts, anyway, you people have my number, right?
Yeah.
You can always WhatsApp me whatever the doubts regarding DaVinci. Okay?
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.